He walked out of the mall, proud of the man he'd become, until he saw a beggar sitting alone near the parking lot. But when she looked up, his entire world stopped, because the woman begging on the street was the one who left him without saying goodbye. It was one of those cold December evenings in Los Angeles, the kind that made the air sting and the lights glow brighter. The mall sparkled like a dream, filled with laughter, Christmas songs, and the scent of roasted coffee drifting through the crowd. Ethan Carter stepped out of his black Tesla, adjusting the collar of his coat as his breath fogged the air. Life had finally rewarded him. The promotions, the corner office, the kind of wealth he once thought was unreachable. But success had also made him colder, distant from the person he used to be. And as he glanced toward the entrance, lost in his own thoughts, something, or rather, someone, stopped him dead in his tracks. Near the parking lot, under the weak glow of a flickering streetlight, sat a figure wrapped in an old blanket. She looked fragile, almost ghost-like, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Anything helps. God bless." Ethan's brows furrowed. There was something about the tilt of her head, the way she brushed her hair from her face, something achingly familiar. His heart began to pound in his chest as he took a hesitant step closer, the crunch of gravel echoing in the cold night air. And then the truth hit him like a shockwave. His breath caught. It was her, Lila Monroe, the same girl who had vanished 3 years ago without a word, the woman who'd promised forever, and left him with nothing but silence. He stood frozen, staring at her as 1,000 memories collided in his mind. The nights they spent talking until sunrise, the way she laughed in the rain, the plans they made for a future that never came. She looked nothing like the girl he remembered. Her hair was tangled, her cheeks pale, her hands trembling against the cold. But those eyes, those piercing blue eyes, he could never forget them. "Lila?" he whispered, barely recognizing his own voice. She looked up slowly, her lips parting as her eyes widened in disbelief. For a moment, it felt like time stopped. The sounds of traffic, the chatter, the music, everything faded into nothingness. Only 2 broken hearts remained in the middle of a December night. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice trembling as if saying his name hurt. Shame clouded her face as she quickly looked away. He could see her fighting back tears, clutching the edge of her blanket like armor. Ethan took a step forward, 1,000 questions burning inside him. "Why did you leave? Where did you go? How did this happen?" But before he could speak, she stood up abruptly, grabbing a worn-out bag from the ground. "Please, just go," she said, her tone breaking between fear and pride. She turned her back to him, her shoulders shaking slightly. Ethan didn't move. His heart was pounding so hard it felt like the world could hear it. The woman he once dreamed of building a life with was now sitting on the same streets they used to drive past, dreaming of someday. And as he stood there, frozen in disbelief, he realized this moment wasn't just coincidence. It was fate dragging them face to face with the past they both tried to forget. She disappeared into the darkness, but the echo of her voice stayed with him. Ethan stared at the spot where she had been, the cold wind whispering through the empty lot. Something deep inside told him this wasn't the end. Because love that real doesn't vanish, it waits quietly for one more chance to be found again, to be continued. The next evening, Ethan found himself driving back to the same mall, his mind a storm of confusion. He told himself it was curiosity, maybe pity, but deep down, he knew it wasn't. There was still a part of him that couldn't forget her, a part that never healed. The city lights blurred past his window as he pulled into the lot. The cold night air hit him again, familiar and heavy, and there she was, sitting in the same spot, wrapped in the same blanket, holding the same paper cup. For a moment, he just watched her. She looked smaller than he remembered, fragile against the noise of a world that kept moving without her. When she finally noticed him, her face shifted, surprise, shame, and exhaustion all tangled together. She looked down quickly, avoiding his eyes. "I told you not to come back," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan stepped closer, his breath forming small clouds in the cold air. "I couldn't just walk away," he replied, his tone calm but heavy with emotion. "You disappeared without a word, Lila. No calls, no texts. I searched for you. For months." She shook her head, biting her lip. "You wouldn't have understood," she murmured. "Then help me understand," he said gently, lowering himself beside her on the curb. The silence between them was thick, filled with years of what-ifs and broken promises. Finally, she exhaled, her voice trembling. "My dad got arrested. My mom was sick. We lost everything, the house, the savings. I tried to keep it together, but I couldn't. I didn't want you to see me like that, Ethan. Broken, helpless. I thought if I left, you'd move on, live your dream without me holding you back." Her words cracked mid-sentence, and tears glimmered under the dim streetlight. Ethan felt something inside him shift. All the anger he had carried, all the resentment and confusion, it began to fade, replaced by something softer. "You think I cared about your money?" he said quietly. "Lila, you were my future. All I ever wanted was you." She turned to look at him, her eyes glistening, her face pale and weary. "That future doesn't exist anymore," she said, her tone filled with finality. Ethan shook his head, pulling something from his coat pocket, an old photo, folded and worn at the edges. It was them, 3 summers ago at Venice Beach, laughing with the sunset painting their faces gold. He held it out gently. "It still can," he said, "if you let me help." For a long moment she didn't move. The sound of cars in the distance, the hum of the city, everything blurred around them. She was caught between pride and pain, between the life she'd lost and the hand that was reaching to pull her out of it. Her lips quivered as tears slipped down her cheeks. Then slowly she reached out and took his hand. It was small, cold, trembling but it was real. Ethan squeezed it gently, helping her to her feet. They didn't speak as they walked back toward the mall, side by side, 2 broken pieces finally fitting together again. The same Christmas lights that once glowed over their goodbye now shimmered above their reunion, warmer, brighter, softer. The world kept moving, but in that small corner of Los Angeles, time stood still, because sometimes love doesn't die. It just gets lost, waiting patiently for the right moment to be found again. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Someone out there might need to be reminded. Love always finds a way back.